Hey everybody, we are back and waiting for this next game to get its party on. This guy never invites me. It's kind of pissing me off a bit. Where's the respect over here?
You'll get over it.
That you what that impression was?
Nope.
Is an Italian vampire.
Ah, okay. You say so.
Alright. TLO versus FeaR. It's gonna be wait, are they playing both at the same time?
Yes.
Okay.
The losers, yeah.
As we're gonna be doing TLO and FeaR, I guess. The other match going on is Lambo and Gung Fu, so we won't be playing all the matches out. Cool, so let's save a bit of time.
Yeah. Huh. You know that BlizzCon? Oh, no, it's not.
I've heard of it. It's an event that happens once
Sorry.
a year. It's better
I was
than
wondering
Christmas.
if I'd be back in time to vote. And I
Oh.
will be.
Would you like to publicly
Yay.
state who you're voting for and declare what party you're part of?
Sure. Democratic. Clinton.
Oh.
Like, what?
But I want to clarify, everybody. I'm not owing at like her choice. It's the fact that she was so quick to like not take my bait.
It's gonna cause such a shitstorm in chat, though.
I was
Fun
so,
mod.
well. I know we're not supposed to talk about politics, but I actually found it genuinely interesting how that actor film thing, or whatever. Joss Whedon got a bunch of the actors from like Avengers and stuff together to do like the promo.
Uh-huh.
Of basically like first off register to vote, like actually vote, and then followed up with like, by the way, don't vote for fucking Trump.
Yeah.
I am loving the way South Park's approaching it. They're not even like being clever with it like they normally are by like alluding to something. They're straight up just calling like Hillary Clinton like a turd burger and the other guy like a shit burger or something. Like it's just they're not like there's no names being used. It's just insults for names.
Yeah, he told me about that before. Never really watched South Park.
I thought it was such a dumb show for the longest time, and I have not seen the first like 10 seasons or whatever, right? But man, the few that I have seen have actually been very, very clever in terms of just like being tongue-in-cheek about real-world events and whatever. So I don't know. I've actually grown to appreciate South Park. I hated it for the longest time. I like stupid animation, terrible jokes, annoying voices, but now it is like definitely one of my favorite shows.
Cool.
Anyways, getting into game number 1, folks, of this new match. Spawning at the top left side of King Sejong Station. It's going to be the blue Protoss. We got to see him a lot yesterday. It's FeaR.
In the bottom right as the red Zerg. He's liquid TLO. Red.
Now,
Red. Ah.
I know, it should be blue. Team Liquid. Got it. A big part of why we got to see a lot of this yesterday was because we got that bonus match at the end of the day, FeaR versus Prime Lot, where I really got to be honest, it didn't feel like FeaR did stuff that was like so, oh my god, amazing, that blew my mind, what a great player. It was a lot more like Prime Lot was messing up all over the place, and FeaR kind of lucked out a little bit there with his losers bracket match. It is going to be tough playing against TLO, but make no mistake, guys, like FeaR in his best game and TLO in his like mediocrest game, I think FeaR could actually take the series. But just generally speaking, I think personally I'm on the favoritism and the side of TLO.
I agree. I would say that TLO takes us 2-1. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to go 2-1.
I wonder, they didn't fight at all yesterday, right? Different sides? Yeah, different sides of the bracket.
Yeah, no repeats yet. Could happen for the finals. But, I mean, TLO, he beat Kung Fu, right? And that's actually not, you know, that's not a walkover right there. Kung Fu can be pretty good, but it was a weird style that Kung Fu was playing. Cannon rushing, basically, to start things off, almost as an opener, which worked once and didn't work a second. Well, it works as an opener once, rather. He did get 2-0'd, but it worked as an opener, and then the other time it didn't work as an opener at all. So he goes on to face, you know, Showtime, which we just cast. And Showtime played a lot more standard, and the only game that TLO was able to win was the one that he bailing busted. And I'm not saying that it's the only way he wins versus Protoss, but it did look like he was struggling a little bit. I mean, even the third and final game, he tried to all in, and it was like 30 seconds too late, you know? Because I think it did have a chance of winning, but it was not super impressive at the timing it was done. And I do wonder if that's just the way that TLO is playing this matchup. Just, you know, likes the all-in. That was once upon a time all Zerg did versus Protoss because it was so damn effective, but I wonder if he's shying away from the macro game. I actually don't know what TLO's best matchup is right now.
If you were to write something on another girl's hands, would that be print her hands?
No.
Well,
If I scanned her hands and then
no, because you're
I
writing
wanted to create a couple of copies.
Print? Fine print? Writing? No?
No.
Okay, well, whatever. Thank you, printer hands, for the 21 months of dealing with bad jokes.
When you start those things off like that, I just immediately like, okay, who's he referencing? Check the chat, check the subs.
Who just subbed? What's going on here? What dumb things about to happen up next?
Anyways, so I wanted to look it up too, actually, because there's not much else going on in this game. We got Resident Glaives on the way, so pretty soon we'll go for FeaR. Probably gonna go for third base, which TLO will be able to scout, at least the intention. The seemingly intention to take the third base. It could be a trick, but Protoss third tricks are kind of old. They're much more Heart of the Storm than they are Legacy of the Void. But a quick check tells that TLO's versus Terran is actually his best. None of his matchups are terrible. They're all above 50%, but versus Terran is where it's at. Versus Protoss is his worst. But again, like, grand context, what does that mean? And then, you know, what's his recent form been like? And just like TLO, I know he gets round of 8. I know he's a good player, but he's not the dominating bracket runner in all of our online tournaments when he signs up, you know? So,
well, I've come to reason with, like, that's okay though. Excuse me, because TLO actually performs pretty well at live events, right? Like, excuse me a sec. Whereas, yeah, a lot of stuff we personally get to watch him in, he kind of falls out like round 32 or whatever. He gets far enough in every single live event that, like, you know, he's a WCS contender a lot of the time. He's got points under his belt. But why not be first place at a DreamHack anytime soon? Finishing second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever, like, is enough to keep him in the running for things like BlizzCon on the regular.
yeah, he's pretty good at those live events. That's usually where, you know, the only thing that matters. But of course, when it comes to qualifiers that are also online, like this one, he does need to showcase that offline finalist TLO. So cleans up this mess here. It did take a lot of lings, so they're at an even worker count right now, but immediately goes back into droning. These lings aren't going to be useless, although there's not really a lot of them left over, and plus one's not kicked in. They're going to provide some scouting, some control, and maybe be able to threaten like a pylon or something at third base. Not too much though. A couple probes actually, as we try and go for. Well, get some energy off of the Motion Core and the sentries. Then just runs away. Silly lings. That's some fairly quick charge. Charge pairing up with +1.
Yeah.
Of course, he sells Resident Glaives. Not double Robo, at least not yet. So probably add one on, you know, of course, later. Just Robo's good production to have, but...
Well, so I find charge incredibly interesting because it will make them significantly better versus lings. It'll add a little bit of damage versus roaches. I mean, what was it? It's like 8 from the charge. It's not a lot of damage, but it's some extra free damage for units that are going to be pretty nice once they actually connect. I think adepts in most situations are preferable because you mask them out, but maybe it's a little bit of fear of bailings because you can't split them as much as you like to, or I don't know, but either way, I like the idea of charge lots quite a bit.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I'd say that the best Protoss can control the charge lots very well. Let the Archons and the Immortals tank the hits, and then they come in after, and they're very effective at dealing with, you know, Roaches and Rougers with that charge, but it is difficult if you don't have a lot of that extra, those extra units I was talking about. You don't have those extra Immortals or the Archons, and they do attack with Banelings, but TLO would be waiting for his Baneling speeds. That's a long time to wait. He would have Archons. He'd probably even have Storm. Actually, if he wanted to go down that pathway, you could certainly start it immediately and definitely have it in time. But the Spire is the most interesting part about TLO's build right now. And it was scouted by FeaR, the third base.
Well, the War Prism got out at least, so he's still got that to work with for now. TLO going for Mutas, actually, we've seen him do this a few times. And he has not been one of those players that commits to a ton of mutas and preps for base trades. A lot of the times we see mutas, it's more in anticipation of, yeah, Warp Prisms or getting some minor harass, while he works his way up to Broodlords or other bigger units behind it. It's kind of weird to think about Broodlords now, considering Baneling Speed's only just finishing, but that's probably on his menu at some point. The Infestation Pit finally starts up as well.
Menu. True.
I spent so much of last night looking at fucking French fries online.
Ugh.
Specifically, curly fries. Oh my god.
Yeah, I saw you retweeted one, but...
And it's like, maybe it's because I can't sleep and I'm hungry for fries. But then I realized, today's Friday.
Oh, that's clearly why you had the hankering.
Actually, yesterday I thought I was eating well. Then I realized a bunch of what I ate was not good for me.
Oh.
Just kind of that has a lot of macaroni and cheese. If that's per quarter of a box, not per box. Oh, excellent.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that type of... I hate when that happens, though. You think you plan your day out? Anyways.
Yeah, feels bad, man.
Yeah, it's actually kind of important because it looked like FeaR wanted to attack. Of course, he knows he has to deal with mutas, even though there's only a small amount of mutas. Like, literally 5 is not that big of a deal. He might have, attempted to push before the count got too high, when, really it's not about those mutas. It is about the hive tech. And I think that's, pushing would have been a decent plan. But he gets pulled back by a bunch of Ling counterattacks. He realizes he has to get his SimCity, his defense is set up back at home. And now he's looking to push. I don't really know if TLO has enough of an army to defend against it.
Well, you know what? There's not going to be any more anti-air warped in. The cyber core just went down.
That's true, but there's only 5 mutas. It doesn't.
That's true. Yeah, I was just saying, like, it was just for base trade. You're like, whoa, my god. But yeah, actually, he has to make these banelings. The problem with this is, like, yes, they're going to get picked off, and they're not going to necessarily connect to the zealots. But even then, the banelings will be a lot more effective against the archons than the lings will, and that's a certainty.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
I mean, it's still going to be ineffective at the end of the day. Don't make any mistake. But it's better than the alternative. This sucks though, because TLO is in a position where he's like close to maybe getting like the Broodlord's out. He might just defend given enough time, but right now it's sketchy at best. Both players playing so smart right now. Zealots being kept in the back line on purpose. Banelings not being all sent in on purpose. This front line little tango is both players playing very, very cautiously.
TLO's idea of a Baneling backstab looks so good, but it's caught by the Archons.
Well, even then, the Baneling front stab might still be worth it. The Zealots get caught. Fungal growths go down. He holds the army in position, but not enough Banelings roll in. The Ravagers were all on cooldown. They're cutting backwards now. Zealots get a little bit low. If he can deal with the Zealots, truthfully, I think the Ling Flood can deal with the Archon, even the Immortals that remain. Most of the Archons were killed by Ravagers through the initial engagement, but he does take the base down and about 10 workers with it. Question for FeaR is, was that worth it? I feel like FeaR just gave up a lot more very expensive and hard to replace units than TLO did.
I mean, he still has a couple of these high power units, though. Those Immortals I'm looking at specifically, and even a couple of more Archons. He does have a bit of a gas bank.
But about the Immortals, there's not a lot of armored units left. It's like the Infestor and like 2 Roaches.
Yeah, but they do tank a lot. I mean, it's true, not the most effective damage, but its damage usually lasts a long time. Yeah,
that barrier can soak a lot of hits, that's for certain. We have 2 Broodlords coming, and while it might not seem like that much, it is going to give him some freebies. Something he does need. Baneling Nest looks like it's about to go down. This is where the Greater Spire is too, so a lot of emphasis to defend this base. TLO really shy in gas because he made so many Banelings. Like, he really wasn't expecting to have to make so many in response to an attack, and that's why he doesn't have like 10 Broodlords morphing in as we speak.
Yeah. Every single time he tries to see a opportunity for the Zealots, the Immortals and the Archons are actually covering it. So, I mean, there's been some good control by FeaR. I think the problem for his army fight was really that it lasted so long. I mean, TLO came out without Infestors with Passion Glands, yet by the time he could, he actually had to, he could actually use the Infestors.
That fry chat inspired some discussion. I know people were posting pictures of waffle fries to me last night, so let's settle this for once in all, Twitch chat. 1, if you prefer curly fries. 2, if you prefer waffle fries. 3, if you prefer normal fries. Hit it up, chat. Let's see. 1, 2, or 3.
And 4, if you prefer tater tots.
Oh, shit. That's not cool. That's like a whole nother... I love tater tots, yo. You can't compare those to curly fries. That's like
really don't
apples and oranges. That's curly fries and tater tots, as the saying goes.
Yeah, that saying goes. I don't like any of these choices, so whatever.
I don't like potatoes.
I don't like potatoes. I'm Irish. Disappoint my ancestors.
You would be the worst Irish person ever. You'd be good at the drinking part, maybe, but the part where
they had their fill of potatoes. They actually hate potatoes now, so sure they're fine with it.
Yes, you'd be good at a modern day, is what you're saying. The base on here did get taken out, but the Zealots got picked off by the Banelings. Lings take out that 4th base of FeaR. FeaR is, by the way, in some pretty dire straits as far as his economy goes. He's got a little bit of a bank to work with, but he spent most of it warping in these Zealots, and when these go down, I'm not sure how much of a round 2 or round 3 there will be. And with TLO's losing a little bit on the drones, his army's still really impressive. Oh, he catches a lot of probes on that transfer. There's an awkward drone over here. What are you doing over here, buddy?
Taking a base? I don't know. Well, Lings just got slaughtered.
But so did the Zealots. They've been finally dealt with too. At the end of the day, FeaR's got more army supply by double. The problem is, though, is this necessarily good enough? Theoretically, if the Stalkers suicide and blink underneath the Broodlords, the Archon's got the damage, like, this should be FeaR's game. That being said, Broodlords can really screw a player up in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, there's a couple extra infestors. I would say they definitely have a chance. Or if the Lings are able to snipe the Twilight Council and the Stalkers didn't have blink, I would say he had a chance. But without that, I think that the Broodlords aren't going to be enough. Because it's also not 20 Broodlords, it's 7. Although I like TLO's thought process though. Like if it's not infestors, it's more Broodlords. Just basically get as many Broodlings in the ground as possible. Hope that the main fight will literally just go so one-sided in your favor that you can recover from everything else that happened and bring their army supply down while keeping yours steady.
Well, he's going for another Zealot attack to take the base down, but he already did. And TLO actually didn't bother retaking it, so a bit of a waste over there.
Yeah, that was pretty effective trade there. That was at least like 15, 20 army supply.
So here's the problem with the Stalkers. Like, let's say they do blink underneath the Broodlords. They will theoretically take out at least half of them, right? But if this is well positioned, that won't happen. And with a fungal growth to lock down, no blinking, that's exactly what TLO was hoping to make happen. Takes out a big chunk of these Stalkers.
It's really nice.
He's also fully aware, like with the way he's been policing the map with the Lings, sure, they're not that effective, but he knows there's like at most like 1 base mining at the moment.
Yeah, but it is a little worrisome because with Broodlords and, you know, the important but, you know, few units, every time he goes in the middle of the map, he is at risk of just getting sniped like this. I mean, he only has 1 fungal, I think, and not even.
But that's the thing for FeaR. He doesn't necessarily know that. So there is a bit of, despite his name here, a little bit of fear going on where it's can you actually take that fight? It looks enticing. You want to blink under it. You want to get that shot. Broodlords actually, the blink manages to land. A lot of the Broodlords going down. The Archon's pushing through the front line. TLO losing out on his army. Broodling's trying to keep the Stalkers back. Most of the Stalkers have been taken out, but most of the Broodlords are down too.
The Queens could have been there to save at least a few of these Broodlords. He maybe has like 6 while he retreats, but even if he had 6 Broodlords, would that be enough to keep on in this game? I don't think so. Not with FeaR having a 4th base. GG.
By the way, according to DeepBot, there's like 68% of the ones coming into chat right now.
What was the one?
Curly fries. Team Curly Fries. Hashtag Team Curly Fries. But alright, that was a pretty long game 1, guys, so we're going to squeeze in a quick commercial break, and we'll be back for game 2 as soon as possible. Stick around, more when we return. Alright, we're back. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching that break for us. We are getting into game number 2 on Frozen Temple. If you are just joining us, FeaR leads 1-0 currently in the series. I guess if you're just joining us, then TLO is also his opponent. There you go.
TLO on that Twitter, waiting for the game to start.
Genghis Han in chat, by the way, reminds us about the option for sweet potato fries, which I will say, generally sweet potato fries are actually not great, but when done correctly, ooh, sweet potato fries are so good. I had not had sweet potato fries for a good couple of years because I've just had no love in my heart for them, but I got an order of sweet potato fries and drinks with gillyweed at PAX, and oh my god, I expected to have like 2 fries. I think I ate like half of them. Ugh.
Okay. I think I've had sweet potato fries once.
Nice.
I know. Amazing stuff.
Okay, well, here we go, ready to play. Thank you to Benya23 for the 11 years of saving esports.
Woohoo!
Actually, I don't know where that like months to years meme came from. I just love it.
Eternities, eras,
Yeah.
decades. Yep.
11 millennia? What? That's crazy. I had this thought, by the way. We need to get like a GIF that I can turn on and off of like a fire extinguisher spraying some foam on TLO's APM every time we cast them at this point. As that was another topic brought up a little bit during that last game, I will remind everybody before we even get into the game, the APM counter is anything except accurate when it comes to casting TLO, as he has some hotkey stuff he does that's not so agreeable with the game, I guess, and it just doesn't know how to handle it, so it just says, no, okay, I guess you're doing a billion APM. Logically, that makes sense. I have to accept it.
Literally a billion.
Yeah. I gave him some shit about it in chat yesterday. He's like, you should know better, BaseTrade. He's scolding me. I'm like, what? No, I was just kidding, man. Whatever. Anyways, we are in game number 2. Spawning here on the top left side, it is going to be the red Protoss FeaR.
The bottom right as the blue Zerg. He is Liquid TLO.
Speaking of FeaR, both players should be a little afraid, as this is the loser's bracket. No extra lives to fall back to, and if TLO loses this game, he is out of the qualifiers and loses out on the chance to even compete for WESG.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these qualifiers were kind of obvious as to who would win them. Because there isn't a lot of signups, or just in general, there's only one really strong contender. But Germany is one of the hard ones.
Yeah, Germany, I think France were probably the biggest ones. Poland ended up being surprisingly enticing as well. But I just really hope that this... So we recently learned about WCA, for example, right? And they have like a bad history of not playing payers out. The Alibaba League comes to the esports scene with literally like millions of dollars being thrown into this. And, you know, tons of money for StarCraft, tons of money for CSGO. Like, they just kind of shotgunned a ton of money at the esports scene. And I'm really hoping they follow through with it. Because, while I'm not trying to put doubts in anyone's mind, they've done nothing to make you doubtful of WESG. It is one of those things where this is a lot of money promised. I hope all the players do get paid, because it would be quite the payday, but also would be just a crazy precedent for a big heavy hitter to actually pay out being new to the scene.
I'm trying to think of the last time there was like a huge third-party almost investor tournaments, whatever, in esports that actually paid out. It was probably something else to do with China. It seems to be the Chinese events where suddenly like a mass amount of money comes out of kind of nowhere.
Yeah.
And, those have been fairly good about paying. It's the European ones that come out of nowhere that gets the crappy reputation.
Well, either way, again, not trying to instill doubt into anyone's mind, but just that word of caution where I do hope everybody gets their deserved prize pools. Because there's a lot, like even just winning the qualifiers will get you a bit. And I'm not talking about these qualifiers, I'm talking about the fact that there's like actually big qualifiers for like the global finals and all this, and you know, we're seeing like 40 different smaller European qualifiers that all lead to like another qualifier type thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting setup, but a lot of money to spread around. So FeaR is going for the same build, I believe, opener, the Adepts with Resonant Glaze coming out fairly quickly. TLO responded to the Adept attack with Pure Ling while he got +1. This time is going for the, I think, earlier Roach Warren. This is a similar game plan as to how he played versus Showtime, I want to say. Like, first he did the +1 fairly early. Then on Frozen Temple, he got the Roach Warren earlier. Did that weird attack that just didn't work out. In the third game... Oh, though, there was the game in between that he did a Baneling Bust, that's right. So, yeah, there you go. But it's still like, yeah, he's changing up on Frozen Temple. I guess not as confident in mass Ling usage on a short map like this. Defensively, that is. Getting the Roach Warren for just in case is never a terrible idea. Something you can get away without, it's great, but unsure, you should go for it. He actually has not scouted much at all. I think he saw the gas geysers earlier on, but that was about it. So he has no idea that it's a Twilight Council and a Robo here. The War Prism is on the way. So he got a couple of like emergency, like, you know, precautionary spore crawlers, just 2, not even 3 in every single mineral line. And once he realizes that he doesn't necessarily need them in the mineral line, he could reposition them to deal with warp prisms. There are those adepts. Immediately just seeing roaches back away. It's really not even that many roaches. He could have shaded forward and realized and maybe still continued the attack, but I think just seeing any army at all already prepared is just not worth necessarily, especially when you do have the follow-up Warp Prism to distract with. Yeah, keep those adepts alive. Get the combo punch in there.
Well, Warp Prism does flow down over to the natural. TLO, his army is not bad for fighting adepts head-on. I don't know about splitting right now. They'll have to pull drones from one of these bases, take them to the other. Deals with the Warp Prism not too badly, but has been a little bit complacent to the third. Late to bring the roaches in. 8 workers go down for it. 9, 10, these folks firing them down.
Main base isn't getting so many kills, but you know, even 1 or 2 additional ones, not bad at all. Warp Prism unfortunately did go down.
But this is close to 20 drones dying for this.
Yeah,
I mean, this was
adepts, 1 Warp Prism.
This was a surprising amount of damage, but here's the problem. This did leave FeaR in, right? He does have a smaller army supply for it. Now, normally a couple overcharges could take this army on, but I think TLO would ideally either split or try to bait out overcharges before dedicating to a big fight.
Right, yeah. Even with a reduced army supply, those overcharges are going to provide quite a problem to actually getting the return damage done.
So he gets on top of the
TLO,
sentries.
Oh yeah, 1 already, 2 already go down.
What do you mean?
The highest energy.
Alright, so
Revenge,
he's
though.
Yeah, he's gonna get a couple of the roaches for his trouble.
That was not an equivalent amount of damage returned, but he was droning, you know, while this was going on, as well as finishing up that +1, which he still invested in, even if it was a little bit later.
Shout out to Jimmy Schmo, by the way. It says for a 6-month resub, just shouts TLO, 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 TLO. I think he's cheering for TLO, Zombie Grove.
Maybe.
Although that could be a double bluff, if you will, like a bit of a ruse to throw us off the fact that he could really be cheering for FeaR.
Yeah. Well, we also think that a lot of people were cheering for TLO. We weren't necessarily like cheering for him, although we really like him, but we were like, yeah, I think that he's gonna take this. I said 2-1, but FeaR, good game last game. Good, you know, calm under pressure type game last game. FeaR, I think his responses and actions have actually not been so bad. That shading
Nice
there,
denying the warp prism. That just shut up at 4 or 5 adepts that were warping in. This is going to send FeaR back home, but here's the problem. These are +1 lings. TLO's going to back away and not dedicate to this because the adepts potentially transfer through, but if he could catch this army, if he kill those immortals, most importantly, the +1 lings would certainly get that job done. And looks like he's still going to get the surround he was looking for in the first place. Crystal Balls aren't quite going to hit, but the lings are causing a lot of trouble. That one immortal goes down, second immortal getting targeted, going to fall. Now it's just adepts, and FeaR is in a ton of trouble. There's no reason for TLO to stop the counterattack behind this.
Yeah, sending the adepts forward in the middle of the map was maybe a big problem. Okay, luckily TLO is going to back off for now, but FeaR, had he lost those adepts too, he really wouldn't have had any army. Like a Warp Prism Mothership Core and I don't know, like a couple of units, but TLO backs off. He gets up to a pretty perfect drone count, and then some, going to 75. Oh, that's quite a lot. But FeaR has time to recover from what was... It ended up being a bad attack, actually. Like, going up the ramp like that so aggressively, and then, you know, making your Warp Prism actually go into warp mode, like, that was dangerous and bold. And I could see his thought process, too, because there really wasn't a ton of basic units for TLO, but they got the shots off, you know, the Corsair Gear, and they got the surrounds with +1 lings. It ended up being a worse trade than FeaR was expecting. These adept run-bys, well, they might get a lot of drone damage done. It's a lot of adepts to give away, potentially. Like, you know, 1 bad little spot and 2, 4 Corsair Gears come down. That's a lot of his army. So he doesn't want to actually give these away, I don't think.
There's a big-ass spider on my wall right now, and I'm trying to observe the game, but I don't want to take my eye off of it, because I need... Oh, it just dropped to the ground. Oh, no, where'd it go?
You could put your camera on.
No.
Are you good?
I don't know. Millie is on my bed. God damn it, cat. Why can't you hunt the spider? Wake
Go
up.
your cat.
Wake up.
Put it near.
Actually, Millie's never been a spider hunter. She's always just kind of looked at him and been like, I don't give a fuck. Like,
oh, this,
Alright.
this is so many adepts. You just got like pure adept. 32 adepts. Okay.
I want to crawl my leg.
So that's gonna happen. Just be a spider, bro. It's a place to chill.
I'm trying not to think about it. I've saved and I've like caught and released the last 3 I've seen, but this one might be destined to die. 34 adepts still alive.
Actually gonna do it? The banelings are forming. A couple of them will finish. Oh, he's not gonna chance it.
I'm a little bit jaded on this because on one hand, like if the adepts do work, you're kind of like, wow, what a cool unit, right? You just mass that really hard. But the same thing, that's what TLO's doing with these Ravagers. Takes a pretty decent fight, keeps backing away. More banelings finish up. Ling's gonna come in. He's got to get something to soak those hits. The Ravagers have got the damage. They don't necessarily have the health.
I think TLO cleans this up.
Oh
I'm
my
surprised
gosh.
FeaR got that extra adept working.
By the way, I just gotta throw out like, okay, GG gets called. TLO ties it up, but that hold, TLO, if you didn't get any of those Bentley hits, if you just kind of A-moved into that, those corrosive bombs weren't landing, like, there's a lot of ways that should have actually worked for FeaR, I feel. But man, the +2 upgrades, the Lings coming in, lots of things from TLO handled really well. Oh, once again, we find ourselves in the wild outback of Virginia. Looks like the zombie grub's a bit thirsty this time round. I
didn't want to take off my socks.
I can't do this bit right now. I got a spider to look for, guys. So I'm gonna go to commercial break. While we get game number 3, we'll see you in 2 minutes. All right, update to Spidergate 2016, guys. Here's what's going on. I see it by the power cords, but it keeps fucking falling off the wall. Like, this is a drunk or a really bad spider because it sucks at climbing. And I'm hella scared that it's going to give up on climbing and start skittering across the floor. So right now, I've wrapped myself in covers like a mummy around my legs because I just don't want it crawling up my legs. It's such a gross thing to think about. So hopefully that'll give me the strength to focus on the game. It's map 3, ladies and gentlemen. The WESG qualifiers continue. Spawning here in the bottom right side of the map, we've got the Red Zerg TLO.
Was such a good stretch. In the bottom left, as the blue Protoss, he's dead pixels. FeaR.
The best stretch is when you get like that right crack to go with it too. Like you didn't mean to, you didn't think you needed to crack your back or something, but you go to the stretch and you just get that little kink and you're like, oh yeah, that's the spot.
You get that little kink and you say, yeah, that's the spot.
Speaking of which, oh yeah, God love 69, 21 years of subbing to BaseTradeTV says, my American drinkiversary. Nice.
It's not really a kink, is it? Anywho.
What do you think a kink is? Let's talk about this for a moment.
I just think that's something very, well, yeah, I'm gonna look up and see if
because for me, I think
kink is in the dictionary.
I think like kink in the hose. I think like a little knot in your back. I don't think it's something like lewd or any other direction.
A bizarre and conventional sexual preference or behavior. Yeah, here you go.
I mean, does that really describe the hose being tied up so the water doesn't go through, though? I mean,
I just say a knot in the hose.
I guess a knot would work, but you don't really tie a knot, right?
Say,
like you just squeeze it.
A kink in my neck, but I don't follow it up with, you know, talking about sounds, so just throwing it out there.
Now, kinky, I know that's the direction of that definition, but
can't your neck be a little kinky, kinkish?
This is actually starting to sound a little racist, like you little no good kink.
Oh my god.
You and your kinky eyes can go back to wherever you came from.
Wow, I'm not comfortable with the situation, so I'm gonna ignore it and move on.
Like it's
like any uncomfortable situation.
What's the as he said sorry. I always think back to his stand-up special about racism where he's like, if you say anything with enough hate, it can sound racist. Like you there, stand up. Sit down, Kit Kat! Like, anyways, Def's going to transfer over to the main. The Queen's not going to quite get the kills. First drone goes down, the second drone gets targeted as well. Love that he picks off the gas mining ones too, but looks like the Link should be able to keep this from getting too out of hand.
Yeah, this Adept's going to transfer over. Transfer out, actually, and meet up with a couple other Adepts and have a party.
No, actually,
didn't feel like it. They're like, yeah, we felt like it, but then we decided midway that we didn't, so...
Yeah, they're either lazy friends or bad friends.
Well, now they force the other one to run away with them. So, all right, a little bit of a aggressive opener here to get TLO to build something other than drones, but he is still following it up the same way that he did in the last 2 games, which is Resonant Enclaves.
This is a long message. I'm going to try and get out of the way before the attack begins. Diocletian Zerg, sub for 30 months says, "Woo, 30 months, unfortunately, maybe one of my last is I'm starting to go to school and my budget's really non-existent, but I still love you."
Thanks!
Thank you very much, dude. We love you too. And also, if it has to be one of your last subs, be proud that it was a fucking 30-month one, man. But I hope things go well at school and your budget won't be too tight. Don't be stuck eating ramen and all that. Lings dart through to the main, but Adepts are warping over here. Again, no Mothership Core rushed out of FeaR, so unfortunately, that being revealed is kind of enough information combined with this Overlord to let TLO know he should be a little bit worried and not so freely drone. We're still going to see him drone, he needs to, but I think this is where you do start getting cautious that, okay, shouldn't hold that D button down too hard.
Yeah, I mean, this is similar to last game where he did get that Roach War and he bothered getting a handful of roaches, and that was enough to scare FeaR. Here, it's going to be a little more awkward because his Adept Transfer is going to finish before scouting the roaches, so he won't be able to back away, although he is not okay, I like this a lot, actually. He's not just running in. He checks before with the Adepts. He sees the roaches already on the way out. Decides to go for it at the 3rd base. They're going to get into a nice mineral line. He's not wrong. Lings try and get on top, but no surround. Not really enough Lings to surround. Gonna get that queen before they transfer out. Oh, they could have definitely transferred out and gotten the queen, but decided not to.
This is something that's a little bit odd. Looks like the Adepts will meet up, but
Oh,
yeah.
We're not. No, once again, miscommunication. They're gonna party? No. We're gonna party later.
Dude,
oh,
I
okay,
texted
okay.
Beth. She said you guys would be here.
But FeaR really just keeping, I feel, TLO on edge, but TLO with the return tactics keep FeaR on edge here. This is a nice damage, in fact.
Even the
Really
probes
nice damage. Oh
Yeah.
my god, he warped it in the wrong pylon.
Yeah, the one touching. Actually, there's nothing touching the Nexus, so it's awkward. 14 probes die for this. Meanwhile, the Adepts do get cornered on the other side of the map, and I think about 3 or 4 will probably die before they transfer away. Still a costly loss for FeaR, if for no other reason than the fact that this is game 3, right? Now that should have been the Korean caster. I'm not sure why it wasn't. Reamar hits us up with a $50 donation. You know what? Let me go trigger that thing for you. I'm actually not on the Twitch alerts page. 1 sec.
I could trigger it.
Do
I
it.
just realized that.
Trigger the plug it.
It has to be donations and then like...
Down below, let's say large.
Yeah, there you go.
This one's for you,
large?
Reamar.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. I don't know why that's been so bugged for me, but thank you, Reamar, for being the only donator today, but also the biggest baller of the only donator too. $50 is greatly appreciated.
Nice. Thank you so much. So, yeah, this has been, you know, I really liked FeaR's control over his Adepts, but letting those Lings into his probe line really, I think, ruined his plans. Not looking so hot anymore. Doesn't take a bad trade here, doesn't it, Enclaves?
That was, by the way, I loved the way TLO chose to take the engagement. Like, it's not creative or anything. It's just smart because he saw that he was going to lose the roaches, went straight for that sentry, knowing the Adepts would abandon it. Biggest snipe he could pick off in that army.
Yeah, that was nice. But it was also nice. I mean, okay, I actually don't know about this for FeaR. If you can get outs with like about half the Adepts, maybe it's not so bad. But fortunately, didn't expect to get full surrounded by Lings, I suppose.
Even then, Lings are not much to stand up to Adepts. However, Queen's ready to intercept on this side. Drones get pulled away. No, excuse me, into the Adepts preemptively. He wants to get a surround on this, and this will clean it up. 4 drones go down. Not too bad.
Well, he certainly, you know, lessened the amount of damage that could have been. Still being at a very decent drone count. 57, not bad at all. Maybe he goes up a little bit more when he thinks he can also afford a 4th. But things are still like a little bit too back and forth. I mean, FeaR, he lost a lot of probes. That Ling attack by TLO was really instrumental because I think otherwise FeaR is actually in like a pretty damn good position. It was important for him to take down the probes like he did. It also messed up FeaR's macro a little bit, it looks like, as he did not have his natural gases, and I'm pretty sure those were supposed to be done a while ago.
Well, this is actually going to be a little bit more probe damage. Oh, okay, only 1.
Like the tiniest amount. I mean, FeaR already invested in the charge, so he can just warp in nothing but zealots and, kind of deal with the lack of gas. But he does need to get his gases up and running, and he still doesn't put them in the natural, which is problems.
So the +1 air weapons being invested into, fully walled off down here, so no more transfers, only has to go around the top side of the map. TLO has, in very subtle ways, taken a lot of map control over the course of these attacks.
Yeah. But FeaR is caught up in worker counts, and TLO, again, like, not on that super perfect amount anyway. Only recently getting to a 4th base. FeaR needs to keep his mothership core with this, though. There's enough mutas. I mean, it's only sentries for anti-air. Mutas could take that on, but instead I think they're going across the map. So he could just cancel the 4th recall, deal with the mutas with stalkers, but once again using the wrong pylon.
Well, it's not that there's
I love watching this. I feel better about myself.
Hang on, the problem is, though, there isn't a right pylon. Like, that's actually a huge issue. There's nothing that will warp in fast to the natural unless you're going to warp in way on this side.
Yeah, the gateways. I think the gateways still would have been preferable because it wasn't really anything for mutas.
Maybe. Either way, the cannon goes down. GG's get called. FeaR's out of the tournament, guys. And TLO will advance to play another round. Lives to see another day.
Oh, and we're already into the next game then.
Yeah, so is that now we go to the winner's bracket? Is that how that works?
Correct, I think.
Cool, B. So it'll be Showtime versus Hero Marine from what I understand, guys. Hopefully this won't take too long to set up. We'll get this ASAP. If this starts earlier than expected, we'll cut the ad short. We'll just cancel them out entirely. But we'll play 2 minutes just in case, and we'll see you guys soon.